As healthcare advances, it seems as though the nation's population continues to get unhealthier and remains unknowledgeable or misinformed in terms of their own health. Currently, one of the biggest issues plaguing the healthcare system is the overmedication of patients as an alternative to living a healthy life. This, combined with large pharmaceutical companies funding nonprofits for illnesses and diseases, accumulated to a medicine first, wellness later agenda. A key example of this is diabetes, one of the fastest growing and most treated conditions in the United States. Increasing at a rate of almost 5% per year, diabetes is a chronic condition that is characterized by hyperglycemia, or high blood sugar, due to the underproduction of insulin in the pancreas. There are three types of diabetes: type 1, type 2, and gestational. However, our focus will mainly revolve around type 2, which occurs when the body doesn't respond to insulin correctly, since it accounts for 90% of all diabetes cases and is the only type that can be prevented by a lifestyle change. To better understand the relationship between type 2 diabetes and insulin, let's look at the chemistry involved. Glucose is a monosaccharide sugar that can be used or stored as energy in the body. Whenever the body needs to use energy, glucose is transported to the plasma, an aqueous or water-like part of the blood. Glucose dissolves easily in the aqueous solution due to a concept called like dissolves like. Because glucose and water are both polar molecules, meaning they have a slightly positive end and a slightly negative end, they easily dissolve into each other. Whenever a sufficient amount of glucose in the bloodstream is used as energy, the remaining glucose forms the polysaccharide glycogen. These glycogen are then transported and stored in the cells of the liver and muscles. Later, this glycogen can go back into the bloodstream, break apart back into glucose, and then be used as energy or to raise blood sugar. Insulin is a hormone released by the pancreas that signals the use of glucose or storage of glycogen in the body. However, if a person has type 2 diabetes, insulin cannot store glucose properly in the liver and muscles due to an incorrect response to insulin created by an unhealthy diet or inactive lifestyle. This is because insulin usage is affected by the deterioration of the pancreas's beta cells. Beta cells are directly in charge of the production and the utilization of insulin inside of the pancreas. When they deteriorate due to adiposity, which is the accumulation of fat caused by an unhealthy lifestyle, the body is unable to correctly use or store glucose. Because glucose cannot be stored in the liver and muscles, it becomes stored in the bloodstream, resulting in a very high blood sugar. This is called insulin resistance. To put it simply, say you are a type 2 diabetic person that just ate a meal. Sugar, or glucose, from that meal is absorbed by the stomach and small intestines, to where it is then released into the bloodstream. Insulin then signals the body to use or store said glucose. However, because your body doesn't respond to insulin normally, your blood sugar becomes too high for too long, causing nerve damage and blood damage that can potentially lead to foot ulcers, cardiovascular disease, vision impairment, gum disease, fatigues, stroke, and even neuropathy. Currently, the most common treatment for type 2 diabetes is a prescription for insulin injection, but there can be a shift in focus to prevention over treatment. When a patient is in the pre-diabetes stage, they can avoid developing diabetic conditions by decreasing excessive sugar intake, eating leafy greens to promote healthy digestion, and limiting red meat and processed food intake. It has also been found that walking briskly for half an hour every day reduces the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 30%. On a minimum, 5 hours of activity per week is all you need to have an effective prevention plan. However, the biggest threat to health, as well as the biggest contributor to pre-diabetic patients, is a lack of education. With the proper education of precursors and signs of pre-diabetes, type 2 diabetes becomes much more preventable. In 1923, Frederick Banting discovered that insulin from an animal's pancreas can be used as a treatment for those suffering from insulin deficiencies. He felt it was wrong for a physician to take advantage of such a life-saving discovery, so he and his co-founders sold the patent for $1. However, in the past decade alone, insulin prices have tripled and are showing no signs of decline. While a generic drug would seem to be the best option, there are none available because corporations' improvements to the insulin are guarded by patents. Pharmaceuticals have become a common answer to various medical problems with their ability to treat and prevent illnesses. However, in the world of medicine, it can become easy to rely on prescription drugs. As seen with diabetes, this has become a growing problem now more than ever because it causes people to rely on drugs they may not even need, spend money on said drugs, and stop focusing on preventing illnesses firsthand with a healthy lifestyle. Although many illnesses require prescription drugs as treatment, there are certain illnesses, such as type 2 diabetes, that have a preventable source and an achievable goal. For people with type 2 diabetes, insulin is a reliable prescription medication because it can keep a diabetic's blood sugar in check. However, insulin, along with many other successful life-saving drugs, have been monopolized by the healthcare industry and have led to an overmedicated nation. Rather than attempt to maintain a healthy lifestyle as a preventative strategy for illnesses, many people decide to rely on the efficacy of modern medicine to treat illnesses after the fact. Instead of treating preventable illnesses with prescription drugs as a first response, more effort should be taken to observe family history, change lifestyle habits, and promote nationwide education on wellness and medication dependency.